I'm William Carter, 45 years old, and I've been sitting by my son Noah's bedside, 15 years old, for 72 hours straight in the ICU at Willow Creek Medical Center in Portland, Oregon. A car hit Noah while he was biking to the basketball court, where he'd spent the whole summer practicing. The accident destroyed his bike, leaving him unconscious with a traumatic brain injury and a broken femur. Noah lies there, his face covered in bruises, his head wrapped in bandages, surrounded by tubes and machines that seem to swallow him whole. Each beep from the heart monitor is a glimmer of hope, but also a knife stabbing into my heart. My eyes burn from lack of sleep. My body aches from sitting in the rigid chair by his bed. I hold Noah's hand, careful not to disturb the IV lines, whispering, "You're strong, Noah. Dad's here. I'm not going anywhere." The ICU is cold, the dim fluorescent lights making everything feel like a bad dream. The steady hiss of the ventilator blends with the soft footsteps of nurses in the hallway. The sharp smell of antiseptic makes me slightly dizzy. Nurse Emily Nguyen, who's been caring for Noah since the first shift, stops by with a fragrant cup of Portland coffee and a comforting look. "Keep talking to him," she says. "Many people in comas can still hear." So I tell him about the time Noah scored the winning basket in a school game, about how he cheered when we watched the Portland Trail Blazers on TV. I promise to take him to a real game at the Moda Center if he wakes up. My voice is hoarse, but I don't dare stop, afraid that silence will sever the fragile thread connecting me to my son.
Before diving into the story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the latest video.
I don't know when I last ate. Maybe it was the energy bar Emily slipped into my hand yesterday. The thought of leaving the room, even for a few minutes, makes my heart clench. What if Noah opens his eyes, and I'm not there? What if he suddenly gets worse? Dr. Rachel Patel met with me this morning. Her voice cautious. "We're doing everything we can, Mr. Carter. Noah's young, that's an advantage. But the next few days will be critical. Waiting is torture, as if time is taunting me." Then the phone in my pocket vibrates. The screen shows Rebecca, my wife. I answer quickly, hoping she's calling to ask about Noah. Rebecca is an event planner, always busy with lavish parties and important guest lists. But her voice comes through, sharp and commanding. "Will, Sophie's birthday party is tomorrow night. I need you home early to help set up." I blink, unable to believe my ears. "Rebecca, I'm at the hospital." Noah hasn't woken up. He's in the ICU. I speak slowly, thinking she doesn't understand. But Rebecca's response chills me to the bone. "If you don't come, I'll reconsider everything, Will. The joint account, everything." Her threat is a slashing wound, cutting through any hope that she'd understand. I look at Noah's motionless face, my heart tightening. "I can't," I say, my voice shaking but resolute. "Not now." I hang up before she can say more. Sitting in the ICU at Willow Creek Medical Center, with the steady beeps of Noah's heart monitor, I feel time stand still. My eyes are fixed on my son's bruised face, but my mind drifts to the past, as if searching for an explanation for how Rebecca and I reached this point. Her call, with its cold threat to reconsider everything, echoes in my head. It's not just a heat-of-the-moment remark. It's the culmination of years I've lived under her pressure, and that of her family. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, in a peaceful middle-class neighborhood, with oak-lined streets and white picket fences. My parents, Henry and Clara Carter, were strict but loving. Dad was an accountant, often away on business trips, while Mom ran the household with near-military precision. They taught me that success came from meeting expectations, no matter the cost. "Do better, Will," Mom would say when I brought home a B+ instead of an A. I wasn't a bad kid, but in her eyes, I was always just shy of perfection. Those words stuck with me, driving me to seek approval. When I met Rebecca at a Portland charity event at 25, I was instantly drawn to her. She was beautiful, confident, with an energy that commanded attention. Rebecca was an ambitious event planner, always knowing how to make things perfect. We fell in love, got married, and I thought I'd found someone to build a happy family with. But soon, I realized Rebecca had standards I could never meet. She compared me to more successful men in her social circle, executives, lawyers, entrepreneurs. Her parents, the Lawsons, always praised. "Why don't you apply to a bigger bank, Will?" she'd ask, her voice laced with disappointment. Are you just going to stay content with this role forever? Noah was born a year after our wedding. A boy with bright eyes and a smile like mine. He was the light of my life. I loved our weekend mornings teaching him to shoot hoops in the backyard, or evenings watching the Trail Blazers on TV, cheering when our team scored. But for Rebecca, Noah was part of the perfect image she wanted to project. She insisted he attend a prestigious private school, enroll in extracurriculars. I thought we're overkill. We have to give Noah the best, she said. But I knew it wasn't just for Noah. It was to flaunt our success to the Lawsons and her friends. Rebecca's parents, Eleanor and Charles Lawson, lived in Lake Oswego, an affluent area not far from Portland. They were influential, owned a large real estate firm, and expected Rebecca to uphold the family's flawless image. Every visit felt like an inspection. "What bank does William work for again?" Charles would ask, his voice skeptical. Rebecca would answer for me, with a forced smile, as if hiding that I was just an ordinary bank employee. Sophie, Rebecca's sister, was the Lawson family's pride. She graduated from an Ivy League school, worked in finance, and Rebecca constantly held her up as a benchmark. My dad, Henry, was the only one who tried to ease the strain, often called to check on Noah, and reminded me that Rebecca just wants what's best. "She loves him," he'd say with a tired smile. "Her way's just a bit different." But the truth was, I was exhausted from trying to be who Rebecca wanted. I found solace in moments with Noah. He loved hearing about my high school days. Even though I wasn't great, he'd ask about my dreams, and I'd tell him about my dreams of a simple, happy family, something Rebecca seemed incapable of grasping. As Noah grew older, Rebecca tightened her grip more. She complained when I didn't push Noah to play basketball with friends instead of extra tutoring. "Noah needs to prioritize the future," she'd say, but I knew it was because she didn't want him to be ordinary like me. I started to see that Rebecca wanted to control not just me, but our son as well. I tried to keep the peace for Noah's sake, but every visit to the Lawson house, I felt sidelined. Sitting by Noah's bed in the ICU, I realized that years of enduring Rebecca had brought me to this moment. Her call, with its threat about finances, wasn't new. It was part of a pattern I'd long accepted: conditional love, the pressure to meet expectations, and punishment if I dared to resist. But looking at Noah, his young face framed by wires and machines, I knew I couldn't go on like this anymore. The phone rang again in the afternoon, as the dim light from the ICU window fell on Noah's bruised face. I glanced at the screen, and saw Rebecca's name. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but I answered, hoping she'd reconsidered, and would ask about Noah. "Will?" Her voice was icy, like she was reading a script. "I'm finalizing plans for Sophie's birthday party. I need you home by 2 o'clock tomorrow, to help set up. The Lawsons are coming tonight, and I don't want anything to go wrong." I blinked, unable to believe my ears, but Rebecca sighed, impatient. "Will, I get that Noah's hurt, but the doctors and nurses are taking care of him. You sitting there all day isn't change anything." Rebecca huffed lightly, as if I were overreacting. "Don't be so dramatic, Will. Noah's getting the best care. Your clinging to the hospital isn't helping anything. Family obligations don't vanish just because you're going through a tough time." "Tough time," I repeated, incredulous. "This isn't a flat tire, or a lost job, Rebecca. Our son is fighting for his life." Her voice came back, cold as ice. "And he'll keep being taken care of whether you're there or not. Meanwhile, Sophie will be devastated if you don't show up. I know you don't want to let her down." Rebecca always knew how to make me feel like the selfish one, but this time I couldn't give in. "I'm sorry if Sophie's disappointed," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "but I have to be here for Noah. Don't you dare talk to me like that." She cut in, her voice thick with indignation. "I've held this family together, despite you being content with a mediocre life. If you don't come to the party, I'll cut everything. Will, it's your choice." Her threat was like a knife, but as I looked at Noah, his youthful face framed by a tangle of machines, I knew I couldn't waver. "I choose my son," I said, my voice strangely calm. "Goodbye, Rebecca." I hung up, opened my contacts, and deleted her number, feeling as if I'd just shed a burden that had weighed me down for years. Right after, a text from Sophie popped up. Will, Mom said you're not coming to the party. I get Noah's sick, but it's just a few hours. Can't you at least send a gift? I shook my head, not responding. My dad Henry called soon after, his voice hesitant. Rebecca said you're not cooperating. He began. She says you're being disrespectful. I sighed. Dad, Noah hasn't opened his eyes in 4 days. The doctors aren't sure he'll wake up. And all Rebecca cares about is whether I'll help decorate for Sophie's party. Henry was silent for a moment. She's worried, Will. You know how Rebecca is. That's not an excuse, Dad, I replied. Too tired to be angry. She hasn't even asked how Noah's doing. I hung up, a wave of loneliness washing over me. But looking at Noah, I knew I'd made the right choice. The beeps from his heart monitor were a reminder. He was still fighting, and I'd be here, no matter the cost. The ICU was a separate world, where time seemed to stand still. I kept talking. About the time Noah scored the winning basket in a school game. About how he laughed when I tried mimicking NBA players' dance moves. I talked to keep him with me, to keep myself from breaking down. Dr. Rachel Patel came by in the morning. Her voice calm but cautious. Noah's intracranial pressure is stabilizing. She said, reviewing his chart. That's a good sign, but we still need to wait. The next few days will tell us more. I nodded, trying to grasp the medical terms through the fog of exhaustion. Will he die? I blurted out, my voice not sounding like my own. Dr. Patel looked at me, offering no false promises. Noah's fighting. He's young and strong. But brain injuries are unpredictable. We have to be patient. Her words cut like a blade, but I was grateful for her honesty. My dad Henry came by in the afternoon, hugging me tightly. I broke down on his shoulder, like a child. For the first time since Noah was admitted. It'll be okay, Will, he whispered. You're not alone. When allowed to see Noah, he stood silently by the bed, eyes red.
Just like you were as a kid,
He said, his voice choking, stubborn and strong. He stayed a few hours before leaving, saying he'd update Rebecca, though I knew she wouldn't come. She's busy with Sophie's party, he said. His voice apologetic. She sends her prayers. I nodded, too drained to feel the sting of her indifference. Daniel Brooks, my best friend from college, showed up on the 4th day, bringing a bag of clothes from home. He stood at the door, looking at Noah with pained eyes. I'm sorry, Will, he said, as if the accident were his fault. It's not your fault, I replied, though neither of us believed it. Daniel shared a story about fighting with his family over his career, saying sometimes you have to set boundaries to protect yourself. You're doing the right thing being here, he said, and I felt a bit of relief. My coworkers from the bank organized support, sending a box of food I only touched because Emily insisted. Noah's basketball coach brought a card signed by the team, with innocent well wishes that made me laugh and cry. By the afternoon of the 4th day, Emily gently suggested I shower in the family room. Just 20 minutes, Will, she said, her voice firm but kind. I'll stay right here with Noah. If anything changes, I'll call you immediately. I reluctantly agreed, but before I could stand, my phone buzzed. An unfamiliar number. I hesitated, then answered, and Rebecca's voice came through, colder than ever. Will, I'm calling from Sophie's phone. What do you think you're doing, deleting my number? Sophie's birthday party is tomorrow night, and you need to be there. Don't make me do something you'll regret. I took a deep breath, looking at Noah, and felt a new strength. Rebecca, I've already told you, I'm not leaving Noah. He's my priority. She interrupted. You're so selfish, Will. You know how important this party is to my family. If you don't come, I'll cut everything accounts, support, all of it. I shook my head, though she couldn't see. Do what you have to, I said, my voice calm, but I choose my son. I hung up. I deleted her number, but she still found a way to reach me through Sophie's phone, as if refusing to let go. Her manipulation, once a familiar part of my life, now felt like an unbearable weight while Noah fought for his life. That afternoon, I heard the click of high heels on the hallway floor. The door opened, and Rebecca walked in, followed by Sophie. Both were dressed impeccably, as if they'd just left a fancy event in Lake Oswego. Rebecca crossed her arms, her eyes sharp. "Will, we need to talk," she said, her voice commanding. Sophie stood behind, looking at me with a mix of reproach and pity. I stood, trying to stay calm, but my body trembled with exhaustion and anger. "Not here," I said, glancing at Noah. In the hallway, I stepped out, leaving the door slightly ajar, so I could still see Noah through the glass. Rebecca started immediately. "No pleasantries. Your behavior yesterday was completely unacceptable. You deleted my number, refused to help with Sophie's birthday party. Do you know how humiliated I was in front of my family and friends?" I blinked, incredulous. "Rebecca, our son is in the ICU. Noah hasn't opened his eyes in 4 days. He might not make it. And you're talking about a party." Rebecca huffed lightly, as if I were overreacting. "Don't be so dramatic, Will. Noah's being cared for by doctors. You sitting here all day isn't helping anything. Sophie's party is a family obligation. You could have come for a few hours." Sophie chimed in, her voice soft but reproachful. "Will, I know you're worried about Noah, but it's just a few hours. I had to cancel the photographer, because you weren't there for the family photo." I shook my head, feeling the floor tilt beneath me. "A family photo," I repeated, my voice trembling. "My son has a brain injury, and you're worried about a photo." Rebecca crossed her arms tighter. "You're always like this, Will, putting your feelings above everyone else. After everything my family and I have done, the joint account, the financial support, keeping this family together. This is how you repay us. This disrespect." Her words ignited every ounce of restraint in me. 4 days without sleep, 4 days living in fear of losing Noah. And now these accusations. "What support, Rebecca?" I said, my voice rising despite my effort to stay calm. "The money I earn goes into that account too. Every time you help, you remind me how lucky I am to have the Lawsons. Have you even asked how Noah's doing? Do you know he's fighting to stay alive?" Rebecca's mouth fell open, as if offended. "Don't you dare say I don't care about Noah. But you're acting like you're the only one worried, sitting here in the hospital. Do you think I'm not stressed? Do you know what people will think when you're not at the party?" Sophie nodded, adding, "People were asking where you were, Will." It was awkward. My blood boiled. "Awkward," I nearly shouted, causing a passing nurse to glance over. "My son could die, and you're worried about it being awkward." Rebecca stepped closer, her voice low but cutting like a knife. "Will, let me be clear. If you don't come to Sophie's party, there will be consequences. The joint account, my family's support, all of it could be reconsidered. It's your choice." Her threat was a final blow, but as I looked through the glass at Noah lying motionless, a new strength rose in me. Years of living under Rebecca's control, trying to please her, to please the Lawsons. It all crumbled in this moment. "You're right, Rebecca," I said, my voice eerily calm. "This is my choice, and I choose Noah. Goodbye." I turned, walking back into the ICU room, not waiting for her response. Rebecca called after me, her voice furious. "Will, you'll regret this," but I shut the door, cutting off her words. Emily, checking Noah's vitals, looked at me with concern. "Everything okay, Will?" I shook my head. Honest. "No, but maybe one day it will be." I sat by Noah, holding his hand, feeling as if I'd just shed an enormous weight. But as the machines kept beeping, doubts crept in. Had I done the right thing cutting Rebecca off? Would this decision affect Noah's future? But looking at my son, I knew I couldn't have done otherwise. Noah needed me, and this time, no one would pull me away. The ICU remained cold, with dim fluorescent lights and the sharp smell of antiseptic. The ventilator's hiss mingled with the nurse's footsteps, creating a rhythm both familiar and unsettling. Noah's intracranial pressure had stabilized. Dr. Rachel Patel said, and his oxygen levels were improving. "We're on the right track," she told me this morning. Her voice cautious but hopeful. "We'll start weaning him off sedatives today. If all goes well, he might begin to wake up." Nurse Emily Naquin, my emotional anchor, checked Noah's vitals and smiled. "His numbers are looking better," she said. "Want to talk to Noah? He might hear you." I nodded, my voice hoarse from exhaustion. Noah, remember when we camped at Silver Falls State Park? You tried catching fish with your hands and fell in the creek. I promise we'll go back when you're better. I spoke of afternoons shooting hoops in the backyard, how Noah laughed when I pretended to lose. I talked to keep him here, to remind him life was waiting. Amid the endless hours, I got a text from Rebecca, sent through a coworker's number. Will, I'm sorry for getting upset, but Sophie's party is a family obligation. You could come for a bit and return to the hospital. I shook my head, not replying. Her apology was a thin veneer, masking her intent to control. I held my boundary, deciding she could only contact me if she genuinely cared about Noah. Daniel Brooks, my best friend, showed up with a bag of stuff from home and a box of pastries from my favorite Portland cafe. He sat with me, sharing how he once stood up to his family over his career choice. You're doing the right thing, Will, he said. Noah needs you more than any party. His words were like medicine, easing my doubts. That evening, as the light outside the ICU window faded, I noticed a small movement. Noah's finger twitched in my hand. I froze, my heart pounding. Noah, can you hear me? I whispered, barely breathing. Emily, checking the machines, immediately looked over. His heart rate's up slightly. She said, her voice full of excitement. Noah, can you hear us? Come on, buddy. A tiny furrow appeared on his brow, and I nearly burst into tears. Emily called for Dr. Patel, and the room quickly filled with people. Dr. Patel checked Noah's eyes, tested his reflexes. There's increased brain activity, she said. He's waking up. The next few minutes passed like a dream. Noah's eyelids fluttered, then opened, his gaze hazy but clearly fixed on me. Noah, I whispered, tears streaming down. It's Dad. You're in the hospital, but you're safe. He blinked slowly, his eyes confused by the breathing tube, but his hand gave mine a faint squeeze. Emily, now off shift and replaced by Nurse Marcus, smiled. Hey there, warrior, he said to Noah. You had us worried. Noah tried to move, but Marcus gently stopped him. No talking with the tube, okay? The doctor will check if we can remove it soon. Dr. Patel returned, examining thoroughly. This is a great sign, she said, the first smile I'd seen on her face. If Noah keeps improving, we might remove the tube by morning. When the room quieted again, I sat by Noah, unable to take my eyes off him. He was groggy, closing his eyes from exhaustion at times, but each time he opened them, his gaze sought me. I'm here, I repeated, gently stroking his hair. In a moment of clarity, Noah tried to move his lips. Marcus, skilled at reading lip movements, guessed. He's asking about his mom, he said. I took a deep breath, choosing my words carefully. Mom knows you're here, Noah. Everyone's worried about you. He gave a slight nod, then closed his eyes, seemingly content. That night, I sat by Noah, feeling like I'd stepped through a new door. The fear of losing him lingered, but hope now burned stronger. The beeps from Noah's heart monitor in the ICU at Willow Creek Medical Center had become a familiar part of me over the past 4 days. But now, as Noah opened his eyes and began to wake, that sound took on a new meaning. Hope, the moment he faintly squeezed my hand, his eyes searching for me through a haze, was a flame warming my heart through the darkest days. After Noah woke, the doctors removed the breathing tube the next morning. His voice was raspy, but the first word he said, water, made me laugh through tears. All right, warrior, I said, bringing a cup with a straw to his lips. He took small sips, his eyes still confused but brighter. Dr. Rachel Patel warned that the road ahead was long. Noah will need physical therapy for his broken bones, and will monitor cognitive function, she said, but his waking up is a miracle. I nodded, knowing each small step was a victory. Rebecca didn't show up at the hospital after our confrontation, but she sent a text through Sophie saying she needed time to think, and reminding me not to expect financial support like before. I didn't respond, holding the boundary I'd set. I'd only allow her to visit Noah if she was positive and didn't bring stress. Deep down, I knew she wouldn't come. Her indifference, once painful, now only reinforced my decision. Noah needed a safe environment to recover, and I'd ensure that. A week later, Noah was moved out of the ICU to a regular recovery room. I relocated to a smaller apartment in Portland, near the hospital, to save money after Rebecca officially withdrew from our joint account. The new place was cramped, with just one bedroom, but I gave the bed to Noah when he was discharged, sleeping on the couch myself. I started freelancing as a financial consultant in the evenings, leveraging my banking experience to build a new income stream. Noah's college fund, once supported by the joint account, now relied on scholarships and my modest savings. But I wasn't afraid. We had time, and I believed we'd find a way. Daniel Brooks, my best friend, became an essential part of our new life. He helped me move into the apartment, bringing an old TV for Noah to watch basketball games. Housewarming gift, he grinned. Co-workers from the bank organized a meal train, sending boxes of lasagna and bread from a Portland bakery. Noah, though weak, began physical therapy with a resilience that amazed me. He practiced walking with crutches, each step a battle, but he never complained. One afternoon, as I helped him into a chair, he looked at me and asked, "Dad, is Mom mad because you didn't go to Aunt Sophie's party?" His question cut like a knife, and I chose my words carefully. "We had a fight, Noah," I said. "Mom wanted me at the party, but I needed to be here with you." He nodded, his eyes thoughtful. "You did the right thing," he whispered, his voice hoarse. "I wanted you here." His words brought tears to my eyes, and I knew my decision wasn't wrong. My dad, Henry, visited, bringing a small gift for Noah, but avoiding mention of Rebecca. "She's staying with the Lawsons," he said, his voice hesitant. I nodded, not wanting to dig deeper. "I understand, Dad." I knew he was caught in the middle, but I couldn't let family drama hurt Noah further. I maintained my boundaries, focusing solely on helping my son recover. Each night, as Noah slept, I sat on the couch, facing the window overlooking the Willamette River. I thought about the years spent trying to please Rebecca, trying to be who she and the Lawsons wanted. But now, I saw clearly, her love always came with conditions, and I couldn't let Noah grow up under that shadow. The small apartment, tight finances, an uncertain future were the price I paid, but I had no regrets. Noah was recovering, and I was learning to live for myself and my son. When Noah took his first steps without crutches, I knew we were building a new life, not perfect, but honest. His laughter, though faint, was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard, and in his eyes, I saw a strength I was determined to protect. A year has passed since those harrowing days in the ICU at Willow Creek Medical Center, when I sat by Noah's bedside, unsure if my son would wake. Now, in our small Portland, Oregon apartment, Noah's laughter rings out, faint but full of life, as he opens gifts at his 16th birthday party. The cramped room, lit by a few candles on a homemade cake, holds something I thought I'd never reclaim: happiness. Today's party is simple, with only those who truly matter. Daniel Brooks, my best friend, brought a chocolate cake from Noah's favorite Portland bakery. Co-workers from the bank came with small gifts, like a new basketball Noah clutched tightly, though he can't play yet. Rebecca sent a gift, a pricey pair of sneakers, but didn't show up. I wasn't surprised. She's kept her distance since I set boundaries, only texting occasionally, always with justifications. I let Noah accept the gift, but won't let her hurt him with expectations or pressure. My dad, Henry, arrived early, bringing a set of science books Noah loves, but left before the party started, avoiding mention of Rebecca. "I'm proud of you, Will," he said, patting my shoulder. After everyone left, Noah and I sat on the apartment's small balcony, overlooking the Willamette River shimmering in the dawn light. Portland's cool air carried the scent of rain. Noah, his crutches still nearby, broke the silence. "Dad, what are we gonna do about Mom? Will things ever be normal again?" His question tightened my chest. I chose my words carefully, wanting honesty without hurting him. "I don't know, Noah," I said. "Sometimes, even people we love see family differently. Mom and I didn't agree on what matters most, and I chose to be with you." Noah nodded, his eyes thoughtful. "Mom always made you sad," he said, his voice soft but firm. "I saw it, even before my accident." His words stunned me. Kids notice more than we think. I tried because I thought that's what families do. I admitted. But now I know, real family is the people who stand by you when you need them most. No strings attached. Noah rubbed the scar on his arm, a remnant of surgery. Like Uncle Daniel bringing the TV, or Grandma Grace sending cookies every week, he said. Exactly, I smiled. They love you for you, not for who they want you to be. Dad, I don't need Mom's money for college. I'll get scholarships or work, like you did. His resilience choked me up. That's the plan, son. I said, we've got time and we'll make it work. As dawn painted the Willamette River gold, I realized our journey had changed me. Noah's accident and Rebecca's manipulation forced me to face a choice. Keep living under the weight of conditional love or protect my son and myself. I chose freedom, despite the small apartment, tight finances and broken family ties. In return, I have Noah, a genuine support system, and the self-respect I'd lost. The story of William Carter and Noah in Portland, Oregon, mirrors the family pressures, personal conflicts, and quest for the true meaning of family, issues deeply relevant to life in the U.S. today. In a society where culture often glorifies personal success and social image, as seen in Rebecca's obsession with Sophie's birthday party to impress the Lawsons, many Americans face the strain of maintaining a perfect facade, even at the cost of close relationships. William's choice to stay by Noah in the ICU, despite Rebecca's financial threats, reflects the struggle to prioritize core values, family love, amid harsh societal expectations. The lesson here is the importance of setting boundaries to protect mental health and loved ones. Especially relevant in U.S. culture, where fast-paced lives and work pressures often overshadow relationships. William learned that real family isn't those who impose conditions, like Rebecca with her financial control, but those who offer unconditional support. The balcony talk overlooking the Willamette, where Noah said, "You did the right thing," underscores that kids value presence and genuine love over material things. The practical advice is to dare to set boundaries, even if it leads to financial or social consequences, like William moving to a smaller apartment. In today's America, prioritize time with those who truly matter, like William with Noah, and seek a supportive community, like the co-workers sending meals. Remember, as William learned, your worth isn't in others' expectations, but in the moments you stand up for love and self-respect. Please subscribe to the channel to follow my and Noah's journey, sharing lessons on family and resilience. Thank you for joining us, and see you in the next video with more stories from Portland.